Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent Pro Hub. I'm Emily, and I'm really glad you're here today. Before we begin, I want you to pause for just a moment and remember the last video. In that session, we explored something deeply personal and surprisingly common: why our mind freezes when we try to speak English. We talked about the pressure, the fear, the overthinking, and those quiet moments where words simply disappear. Many of you recognized yourselves in that explanation because what we discussed wasn't theory, it was real life. That first video was about understanding the problem. Today's video is about moving forward from it. If you've ever thought, I understand English, but I can't speak it smoothly, or I know the words, but they don't come out at the right time, then this session is for you. Because today, we're going to explore one of the most important skills in language learning: how to think in English. This topic changes everything. Most English learners don't struggle because they lack intelligence or effort. They struggle because their mind is working in two languages at the same time. One language produces the thought. The other tries to express it. And between these two steps, confusion is born. In our previous video, we saw how this confusion causes hesitation, silence, and fear while speaking. Now comes the next logical question. If translating in the mind creates problems, how do we stop doing it? How do we think directly in English? And is it even possible for non-native speakers? The short answer is yes. The real answer is more interesting. Thinking in English is not a talent. It's not something only native speakers can do. It's a habit. And like all habits, it can be learned, trained, and strengthened over time. But to do that, we first need to change the way we approach English. Many learners believe that thinking in English means forming perfect sentences in the mind before speaking. That belief itself becomes a barrier. Real thinking is not neat. Real thinking is messy, fast, emotional, and often incomplete. And that's exactly how thinking in English should be: natural, imperfect, and free. In today's video, we're not going to rush. This is not a motivational speech, and it's not a grammar lecture. This is a calm, honest conversation about what happens inside your mind and how you can gently guide it in a new direction. Everything we discuss today is meant for international learners, people from different cultures, backgrounds, accents, and experiences, because the struggle with thinking in English is universal. No matter where you're from, you've probably experienced this. You understand a question in English. You know the answer in your own language. But when it's time to speak, your brain starts converting, checking, correcting, and doubting. That gap between understanding and speaking is where confidence breaks. This video exists to close that gap. What makes this topic powerful is that once you start thinking in English, even a little, your fluency improves naturally. You stop panicking about grammar. You stop translating word by word. Your sentences become shorter, clearer, and more confident. Speaking feels less like a performance and more like a conversation. But let's be clear about one thing right now. Thinking in English does not mean forgetting your native language. It does not mean rejecting your accent. And it definitely does not mean sounding like someone else. It means allowing English to exist independently in your mind without permission from another language. In the previous video, we talked about fear, emotional memory, and overthinking. Those elements don't disappear automatically, but when you start thinking in English, they lose their power. Because the mind becomes busy expressing ideas instead of monitoring mistakes. This is why today's video is a continuation, not a separate lesson. First, we understood why the block exists. Now we begin learning how to remove it. I want you to watch this video with patience. Don't try to apply everything instantly. Let the ideas settle. Let them challenge your old habits. Let them feel uncomfortable at first. Growth always feels strange before it feels natural. And most importantly, don't judge yourself while watching. This is not about comparing your level with others. This is about understanding your own mind and giving it a new direction. By the end of this session, you will magically become fluent overnight. And that's not the goal. The real goal is something deeper, to help you stop fighting your thoughts and start flowing with them in English. So stay with me. Listen carefully and allow yourself to imagine a future where English feels lighter, calmer, and more natural in your mind. In the next part, we'll begin breaking this down step by step. How thinking works, how language connects to thought, and how you can start training your mind to think in English in real, everyday situations. Let's begin. Now let's explore the details and truly understand what it means to think in English. And more importantly, how to start doing it in real life. First, we need to clear a very common misunderstanding. Thinking in English does not mean thinking in full, perfect sentences. That's not how the human brain works in any language. Even in your native language, you don't think in clean grammar. You think in ideas, images, emotions, and fragments. Language only comes after the thought. For example, imagine you're hungry. In your mind, you don't think, I am feeling hunger at this moment, and therefore I should eat food. No. You think food, hungry, eat. Maybe you imagine a plate or a smell. That's thinking. So when learners say, I can't think in English, what they really mean is, I can't form English sentences fast enough. These are two very different things. The real problem begins when you try to convert your thoughts instead of expressing them. Let's look at a very normal daily situation. Someone asks you, "How was your day?" In your mind, the answer appears instantly, in your native language. But instead of speaking, your brain says, "Wait, translate first." Now the brain opens a translation office inside your head. One department looks for vocabulary. Another checks grammar. Another worries about mistakes. And another one whispers, "Speak fast." This internal meeting takes time, and during that time, silence happens. Thinking in English means closing that translation office. Here's how real thinking in English actually starts, with small, incomplete thoughts. For example, instead of translating a full sentence like, "Today was very tiring because I had a lot of work," your English thinking brain starts with fragments. Tired, long day, too much work, need rest. These are not sentences, but they are thoughts. And from these thoughts, speech naturally grows. Now let's make this more practical. Try observing your mind during simple moments. When you see rain, don't think in your native language and then translate. Just say in your mind, rain, heavy rain, cold, traffic. When you feel happy, think good mood, smiling, feel light. When you're angry, annoyed, tired of this, need break. This is thinking in English at the thought level, not the sentence level. Another powerful daily life example is self-talk. All of us talk to ourselves silently throughout the day. Most learners do this in their native language automatically. Now imagine slowly switching that inner voice to English, but gently. For example, instead of "I need to do this," think, "I need to do this," simple English. Instead of "This is difficult," think, "This is hard." Instead of "I forgot," think, "I forgot that." No pressure, no performance, just quiet thoughts. This works because your brain feels safe when nobody is listening. And safety is where habits change. Now let's talk about speed, because this is important. When you start thinking in English, your thoughts will be slow. That's normal. When a child learns to walk, they don't run on day one. They fall. They pause. They wobble. If you rush yourself, "Why am I thinking so slowly?" you break the process. Fluency comes from comfort, not force. Another mistake learners make is waiting to think in English before speaking. That's backwards. You don't wait to think in English to speak. You start speaking simply, and thinking in English follows. For example, instead of preparing long sentences in your head, start with short spoken phrases. "I like this." "I don't understand." "Give me a minute." That's enough. These small sentences train your brain to connect meaning directly with English. No translation bridge in between. Let's talk about a real-life fear moment. You're in a conversation. You know what you want to say. but the sentence feels long and complicated. Your brain freezes. Here's the trick fluent speakers use. They break thoughts into pieces. Instead of one long sentence, they speak in parts. For example, yesterday, I was very tired. I had a lot of work, so I went home early. This is not weak English. This is natural English. Thinking in English becomes easier when you allow your thoughts to be simple. Another powerful tool is exposure with intention. Watching English videos is good, but passive watching doesn't change thinking. What helps is active noticing. When you hear a simple phrase like, "That makes sense," or "I'm not sure," pause and repeat it in your mind during the day. Soon, your brain starts using it automatically. And remember, your accent does not block thinking. Your mistakes do not block thinking. Your fear blocks thinking. The moment you stop judging your own English, your thoughts move faster. Thinking in English is not a switch. It's a gradual shift. At first, a few words. Then short phrases. Then full thoughts. And one day, you realize you spoke without translating, and you didn't even notice when it happened. That's the real sign of progress. In the next step, we'll talk about specific daily exercises you can use to train this habit step by step, without stress, without confusion, and without feeling fake. This is where English starts feeling natural. Not in books, but in your mind. As we come to the end of today's session, I want you to take a moment and reflect, not on how much English you know, but on how differently you're starting to see it. Thinking in English is not about pressure or perfection. It's about allowing your thoughts to move freely, without fear, without constant correction, and without translating every idea before you speak. Remember, progress doesn't happen in one day. It happens quietly, in small moments, when you think a simple word in English, when you speak a short sentence without hesitation, when you feel a little less nervous than before. Those moments matter. They are signs that your mind is slowly adjusting, learning, and growing. Be patient with yourself. Give your brain time. Treat English like a companion, not a test. The more relaxed you are, the more naturally your thoughts will flow. And one day, you'll realize that you're thinking in English without even trying. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of this video. Your time and attention truly matter. If this session helped you, keep practicing, stay consistent, and stay connected. There's so much more to explore, and this journey is just getting started. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.